So, deaf people in this area, any law, any scientific research, any school teachers, I mean, anything. Language, how do you discuss sentences, language, different perspectives. You know, deaf people in this area, we put it all that together and we call it framework. Now, framework, if you look at it, there's two things that fall under framework that are specific for deaf people. There's deafness and deafhood. Now, you might wonder how I'm going to compare them and what's different about them. I'll break them down more and have examples for each and to break that down. So, starting with deafness, you break that down. It has a deficit way of thinking. And deafhood has more of a possibility way of thinking. So, with deficit thinking, that, means you look at all of group of people as having a loss, which, and being unimportant, which means, having respect or support or anything like that just really isn't important. You can insult them, kind of write them off. If there's any problem, it's going to be on them. Hearing people, you don't really put anybody up on a pedestal, but the problem is them. Another good example is hearing loss. You say hearing loss, my hearing is declining, or I've lost my hearing. All of those are very negative connotation, or negative ways of saying things. But if you have possibility thinking, that means, I'm deaf. I have something special. I can use my eyes and focus with my eyes and do things that way. It's natural for me. I have an identity where I sign, and my eyes are important, and I can graduate and have a family and have a house and, all these things that are important because I can see. And all that deafhood people group together and they support each other and they really work together. So, but if you have a deficit way of thinking, being deaf is a problem. You have to fix it. That's one way to look at it. Another way I'd like to compare them is under deafness, you have an unexamined, and then under deafhood, you have examined. So, what does it mean if it's unexamined? It's like, well, I'm deaf. Accept it, it's the status quo. It's a problem, but it's fine. It's whatever, I don't really talk about it. But under deafhood, they're like, whoa, I'm deaf, it's fine, it's not a problem. You don't need to analyze me. I don't have a disability. Suppose you're walking down the street and there's a big commotion, and you don't know. So what? That's fine. You're not going to die because you didn't know. I mean, a hearing person would never die from not knowing. And some people say being deaf is a problem with car accidents or train accidents. Many hearing people die from all of those things. Or if there's a fire, oh, you're deaf, there's a fire. Oh, but no, many hearing people die from fires too, so I don't understand this thinking. It just doesn't match up to me. So, also, if you think language, suppose that, language falls under the Disability Act. So, if ASL falls under the Disability Act, so ASL is equal to wheelchairs or, cochlears. ASL is equal to different machines, and, I don't understand that, because ASL is equal to Spanish and English and French. I mean, it's the same as all these other languages, except they speak their language and we use our hands. That's not a disability, and that would fall under the deafhood examined way of thinking. So, we have the framework where there's deafness and deafhood, and I've expanded on each of these. So which do you think is right? Now, understand you cannot take things from both and combine them. You just can't. Problems will happen and you have to keep them separate. So you have to pick one. Which is it going to be?